Everyone, and welcome to our town hall. My name's Lisa Regan, and for many of you, I'm a new face. I'm the new Senior Director of Programs and Services here at St. Vincent de Paul, Georgia, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with my colleague Gina Wilson, who is our Vincentian Services Manager. And we have a good number of folks here in the room with us. Of course, our Executive Director, Mike Neese, our Chief Philanthropy Officer, B. Purdue, Krista Fry, who many of you know from Support Services, and Marielle, the infamous Marielle, who I know that most of you know.
Everybody knows.
He's our housing director. So we hope everyone's having a blessed Advent so far. We have a few things to share with you today, and we'll be pushing out this recording too for all that have been unable to make it this town hall during this busy time of the year. So we'll get started with some slides, and we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. So again, this is our fourth quarter town hall. We will be having another town hall in February, so we'll be on point with our quarterly schedule going forward. But as always, we want to open in prayer and reflection. Would you like to do that for us, Mike?
Sure. Good afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Advent. As Lisa mentioned, she's newly on the team, and we're thrilled to have her here, as well as the rest of these ladies. I'm surrounded by ladies today, so lucky me. We do have, we'll start with obviously prayer and reflection, and then I want to give kind of an update of the fiscal year just completed, and give you some perspectives on that, and then we'll go through some of the program areas, and as Lisa mentioned, we'll have time for Q&A at the end. So let's begin as we always do in prayer. In the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. St. Vincent de Paul, your love of Christ and of the poor served as an inspiration to Blessed Frederick Ozanam and the founders of the society that bears your name. We humbly ask for your intercession that the Holy Spirit will give us the grace to put into practice your virtues in our daily life. May we approach problems with simplicity, with our intention focused on God. May we follow Jesus' example of humility by being meek and humble of heart. May we practice selflessness to deny our desires so we may better serve others. May we practice gentleness so we may be warm and inviting to all those we encounter. May we have zeal in our ministry to serve God's people, even as we balance our other responsibilities. We ask you to take this prayer to our Lord Jesus Christ, and if it is in the Father's holy will, our petition be granted.
Amen.
Thank you. I love that prayer because it focuses on the Vincentian virtues, which we talk about frequently, at least here in the office. We talk about frequently, and hopefully at your conference meetings: simplicity, humility, selflessness, gentleness, and zeal. My personal favorite being zeal, as everyone here knows. But we'll focus a little bit more in our reflection this morning on, or this afternoon, on simplicity and humility. So this is from some of you may receive, I don't know, Gina, who Deacon Bill's reflections go to. Is it just spiritual advisors or?
Spiritual advisors, district presidents, conference presidents, staff members, and board members.
So conference presidents and spiritual advisors get this regularly from Deacon Bill, and this is sort of his intro to the reflection, the Vincentian reflection for this weekend's gospel. And I'll just read it in case it's small on your screen. So our gospel this weekend for the third Sunday of Advent is the story of St. John the Baptist, a man named John who was sent from God. John played a pivotal role in salvation history as he was able to lead from the second chair. When discussing John, Jesus refers to the greatness of John, as Jesus went on to say, "Yet the least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he." Jesus was letting it be known that all those who follow him, accept his teachings, and work for the betterment of others in this world are numbered among the greatest. Vincentians, our Lord is also speaking to all of us with this message. Each of us in our Vincentian calling has the ability to submit to the will of our Father. And in our Vincentian virtues, especially in our simplicity and humility, we follow our Lord as he commands us. Love God and love your neighbor. Utilizing the gifts we have been given by God, we all have the opportunity to bring hope and the love of Christ to our neighbors. During this Advent season of expectation, may we use our gifts that we have been given to help our neighbors feel the joy, hope, and love of this season. Thank you for your yes to our Lord, and may God bless you and your families. That's from Deacon Bill. That was a beautiful reflection because it obviously focuses on the gospel this weekend and in particular on simplicity and humility, two of those virtues we just talked about. And it's interesting. One of my favorite gospel passages comes 2 chapters after this, in chapter 3 of John's Gospel, where John the Baptist's followers are coming to him grumbling and complaining that Jesus is getting all this attention, and some of the followers are leaving John to follow Jesus, including St. Andrew, of course. And John's response is relax, chill out. And then he says a beautiful line: he must increase, I must decrease. Talking about, of course, Christ and Christ needing to be the focus. And I think it's a beautiful sentiment for us and for what we do. It's really about doing Christ's work, not our work. We're helping people, but it's not us who's helping people. It's Christ who's helping people through us. We're as St. Mother Teresa said beautifully, we're the pencil in the hand of God. So he's doing the writing, and we're his instrument. So we're blessed to have that role. But it's a remarkable statement of simplicity and humility for John the Baptist to say, he must increase, I must decrease. So good thing for us to keep in mind. So thank you, Deacon Bill, for that reflection. We appreciate that. It's also a good lead into what I would like to talk about, which is our impact. We have as humility being one of our essential virtues, we don't like to talk a lot about the work that we do, but we have produced with Bee's leadership a impact report, which Gina will show you in a few minutes, which is a beautiful piece that we can distribute to you all electronically. But what it really measures isn't our success. Let's stay with this, Gina, for a moment. If you go back in the back up one. So the impact report talks about all the great things that we did in the last fiscal year ended September 30th. But as I was explaining in a small reception we had Monday evening to board members and some others, we don't really measure success of what we do as Vincentians in terms of pounds of food and number of prescriptions and dollars of aid. We measure success in whether the people we serve feel the love of Christ through us, whether they see the face of Christ in us, whether they experience Christ in us, and conversely, whether we who provide that service see the face of Christ in the neighbor we serve. That's the ultimate measure of the success of our work and our mission and our activity. Unfortunately, we can't quantify that and we can't measure that. So we do measure activity, which is the next one, Gina. And this is really important that we measure activity, even though we try to be humble. It's important because we're stewards of the resources provided to us by our benefactors and donors. And it's important for us to be able to report to them the good work that we are doing with their generosity. So I don't mean to diminish the fact that we're measuring our activity, but I do want us to be cognizant of the fact that that's not really the sum of our success. But let's talk about the activity for this next period. And you can just slide that mouse down here, Gene. I'll just advance to the next few. So the activity has been pretty phenomenal in this completed fiscal year.
Okay, good.
And we'll measure it in various different ways. So one, we measure activity. So in particular, the number of neighbors that we've helped from 153,000 in fiscal year 22 to 191,000 in fiscal year 23, which is a phenomenal 25% increase in the number of neighbors that we've interacted with. About half of that increase or a little bit more is here at the council level, where, as you know, we've greatly expanded our outreach and our casework and our food distribution, and of course, our pharmacy activity. But a lot of that increase is also at the conferences. So these numbers that you see are council-wide. This is the entire activity. In terms of visits conducted, a lot of these, the majority probably are home visits. We don't really have that granularity of detail. But the total number of visits with neighbors that we serve increased 80%. A lot of that was not home visits because it was all the casework we did here. We probably saw 20,000 more neighbors here and thousands of more visits, which are obviously here in the office. But those are person-to-person interactions, and that's what we're called to. It's not necessarily a home visit; it's a person-to-person encounter. So we increased those 30%, and something that we can only kind of ballpark based on the number of activity and events and volunteers here in the food pantry and Vincentian hours. We estimate that we had more than 550,000 Vincentian or volunteer hours. Most of those are Vincentian hours, some of those are community volunteers, which is about 10% more than the prior year. This is a really important point for me to make, that this data is coming principally from CMS, and it's really crucial for our reporting to our benefactors and foundations and government entities and the community writ large, the work that we do. So I know some conferences do a fabulous job of recording all of this: volunteer hours, members, visits, people helped, food distributed, etc. If your conference is one that maybe doesn't do as good a job, just recognize how important this data is for everything that we do, particularly on the development side. So the next section is valuing the assistance that we provided, and we'll see some significant increases. So the total value of programs and services increased almost 13%. So this is everything that we do statewide. So it's all the conference activity, it's all the council activity, the programmatic functions, whether it's the pharmacy or motel to home or the food pantry, the food distribution program, everything. So everything other than administration and fundraising as programs and services, and an increase 12.8%. However, total direct aid, which is the value of financial assistance, the value of food distributed, the value of free goods given from thrift stores, the value of prescription medication, the value of Christmas gifts, all of that totaled almost $20 million in the last fiscal year, up 18.5%, which is a huge increase. And then finally, direct financial assistance. So the value of the direct aid that we provided for rent, utilities, car payments, any other financial assistance, the vast majority of which is done by the conferences, because very little direct financial aid is given out here through the council, other than through some grants, increased 10.5%. So $12.7 million. And I view that as effectively eviction prevention assistance. So we're paying people's rent or utilities or car payments or car insurance, or giving them food so that they can pay their rent and stay stably housed. So it's a tremendously important figure. And then if we look at our impact on hunger, the total food that we recovered from our grocery partners was $1.4 million worth of food, up 20%. So that's increasing the network. We're now up to about 40 stores, probably an increase from the low 30s. So this is the volume in pounds and the value of meat, produce, and bakery goods that we collect from our grocery partners on a regular basis and distribute here through our pantry here, as well as distribute to other pantries throughout the state. The total value of the food distributed to neighbors in need is over $3.5 million, 22.6% from last year. So this includes obviously the significant increase here in Chamblee with the number of neighbors that we've served, but obviously an increase in the other 38 or 39 food pantries we have in conferences throughout the state. So tremendous effort to address food insecurity. We know that 1 in 9 Georgians goes to bed wondering about their next meal. So this is a huge blessing to thousands, tens of thousands of our neighbors. And lastly, some of the council specific programs are motel to home families that were permanently housed in last fiscal year was 194 families, 250% higher than the previous year. Some of you may be aware of this. We set out at the beginning of the year to budget for about 60 families, ended up doing 194 in the fiscal year. In this calendar year, so far, there's 247 families with 467 children that are going to be waking up on Christmas morning in a permanent, affordable, safe, stable, rented home instead of a dingy, unsafe, cramped motel room. So a tremendous blessing to those families and those children, and a tremendous testament to the work of Heidi and Allie and Tracy and Marielle and the team that did that. And then our pharmacy, we'll talk a little bit more about the pharmacy in a bit, but we increased the number of prescriptions dispensed 38%, increased to 15,000 during the fiscal year. And the total value of those prescriptions, the wholesale value is over 2.2 million, 2.25 million, a 78% increase in value. So we're filling more prescriptions, we're filling prescriptions of higher value medications, and saving our neighbors significant money for those that would have spent them. But more importantly, we're filling prescriptions that otherwise would have been unfilled. The neighbors would have just said, can't afford to get my medication for hypertension or cholesterol or COPD or whatever. So we're tremendously impacting the health of our neighbors. So collectively, a phenomenally productive year in terms of activity and the number of lives we've impacted. Again, the root of our mission is how we impact those people, not how many we impact. And I trust that as Vincentians, we've met our mission there as well, but we have no way to measure that. So with that, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but we'll save any questions till the end. But it's been an honor in my first year here to represent this organization and the phenomenal work that you all do. We just went through in 5 minutes, but impacting 190,000 lives is worth more than 5 minutes of time. But thank you for all that you do on the front lines of our Vincentian work. So with that, I will turn it over to Lisa or Gina or whoever's taking over.
So Advent is a beautiful time to reflect on this, on the Vincentian values of simplicity and humility. And as Mike was talking, I was, thinking in terms of that as we celebrate our Savior's birth, it really does boil down to how we present the face of Christ. But we also know that tending to our neighbors in need is not always simple, right? So we're always trying to balance that come down to what is at the heart of what we do. But we here at the council office also want to make sure that you have the tools that you need to tend to your neighbors in need. So we just kind of wanted to, do you have that here? Oh, sorry, mouse. So we just wanted to make sure that you're all aware of what we have here at the office to provide the tools. And
I think it's
doing it. Yeah. Sorry. There we go. Okay. So just to make sure that everyone is aware of our member resources on our site, we're always trying to update these. We have, links to a number of different things that can just help keep you up to date on resources, caseworker resources. If you have not yet signed up for our newsletter, please do so. Everyone should be on the society page. The last society page just came out yesterday. Formation and news is out every couple of weeks. Gina's been doing a great job of keeping everyone up to date through formation and news. And we do have some events coming up too that we want to make sure that you're aware of. We have 2 Ozanam trainings coming up in January 13th at St. Michael's in Gainesville, and January 27th at Good Samaritan in LJ. So just make sure that, if you have any questions or you're having trouble navigating what's on the member section of our website, please reach out to us and we'll make sure that you have our emails, our cell phones. We can be reached anytime, anywhere. My cell phone is never private, so that you have the information that you need in order to dig deep on the site and just get what you need to better serve your neighbors. Also, just wanted to make sure that we have formally announced, and we will be sharing this continually through the next couple of months, that Spring to Life has been scheduled for March 23rd. So please look for more information on Spring to Life. As you know, that's an opportunity for us to break down into sessions that really help us dig deep into specific resources, so that caseworkers and conferences have up-to-date information and more depth of information on things like Marielle's Motel to Home program, resources available to better serve your neighbors in need. So please reach out to us. Gina, anything to add on formation and news or what you've been pushing out to our conferences?
Definitely, if you've not been getting emails, reach out and let me know. I know you don't know what you don't know, but there should be at least 2 communications that have gone out in the past month. If you haven't received them, let myself or let Lisa know so we can make sure that you're not blocked in some way or that you're still on the actual list to receive our emails.
And so under the formation tab on the members website, that's where you're going to see. Yeah, that'd be great. That's where you're going to see the upcoming Ozanam trainings. Just, more information as we get closer to Spring to Life and such. So, please just try to bookmark these tabs so, you can get up-to-date information, and obviously we'll be linking to all of these things in formation and news as well. But I know we will do questions at the end, but because this is so important to all of you, is there anyone that just has a question about how to access resources at this point, or do you feel like you're not getting what you need at this juncture? Gina and I are new, and our job is really to make sure that we are the face of what you need here at the council level. And if we don't have the answers to the questions, we'll make sure to get the answers to the questions. Anything from any of y'all before we move on? Well, thank you so much, and thank you for your patience and your help. And we look forward to digging in and just continuing to work with you guys and having some robust communication. And here, I also failed to mention Brian Dooling is on virtually with us as well. Brian is our Director of Communications. So Brian and I are working together with B as well on the fundraising front. But our plan right now is to provide conferences with deliverables, marketing deliverables that you can use through your parish communications teams to help fundraise and recruit volunteers at the conference level. And so we're working on short video clips, social media memes, messaging that can go on your parish websites, that can go into your parish social media platforms, and really for you to use in whatever way is helpful. That would include pulpit talks. And we know not every pastor is, into pulpit talks, but we would encourage you to ask. It does not hurt to ask. Getting up in front of your parish community is really the best way to fundraise. And B's going to talk a little bit more about fundraising, but please be looking for those, I'm calling them deliverables. That's kind of a marketing term, but what it's going to be is just little PDFs and little snips of things that you can customize through, for your specific parish that will help your community know and understand the importance of contributing to the basket every month for St. Vincent de Paul. We know that you guys are out there on the forefront of probably one of the most critical times we've had in our community for eviction prevention, financial assistance, and we know you're on the front lines. So we want to make sure that we're providing you with resources that you can use at your parish level to help communicate to your pastor, to your community, and to your parish community. So please be looking for some of those things, short little video clips, pulpit talks, social media memes, and graphics that you can work with your parish communications. Most of you have communications managers at the parish level, and if they have any questions, or if it would help to even have a short little meeting together, we can help them know how to use those things and better access those. And with
One
Sorry, go
quick
ahead.
point on
Yeah.
pulpit talks. I know most pastors are frown on that because if they give one ministry, they got to give everybody. But if you're hesitant to ask, do that because you don't want to give a pulpit talk. Somebody on our team would be happy to come and do a pulpit talk and try to recruit volunteers and Vincentians for your conference and recruit funding for your conference. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd be happy to do that.
Absolutely. Brian, anything else on the marketing and communications front?
No, just that we want to really provide resources to you and best practices and share as much information as possible to make it as easy for you to grow your conferences and market yourselves effectively to raise as much money as possible. So you can help more neighbors in need.
Thank you, Brian. So the idea here is for us to create these materials in the form of a campaign, with the timing being Lent. So, you know, as you're reaching out to your parish community during Lent, everyone's looking for a way to, you know, pledge their support, their prayer, their alms. This is such an obvious way and such an important way. So we'll be theming these things, you know, in a way that, you know, can help rally your community, and they will be available for download in the members area of the website, like we were just referring to. With that, I'm going to throw it over to B because she's the expert on fundraising, and she can share more about the development team here.
And I'm going to slide this way. I'm not sure if you're in the camera view or not. There you go.
Well, thank you. I believe I may have met some of you, and it is our goal in the development team to meet with either virtually or in person every conference so that we can get to know you. I serve as the Senior Philanthropy Director. My predecessor was known as the Chief Development Officer. So if you were familiar with Elizabeth, that is what I do. We have currently on staff 3 gift officers, 2 of whom are employed, and 1 is a consultant or contractor and focuses on corporate giving. Most of you have probably had some contact with Renee, who manages grants and contracts for the organization. Renee and I will be doing a tour to come and visit conferences to talk more about the grant process, talk about opportunities that may be out there where funding can be greatly dispersed into the conferences. So we are looking at those opportunities. And then Tara focuses on individual giving. Brian, of course, you just heard from, focuses on marketing and communications. And Elizabeth Ivy is our development support manager, focused on things like gift receipts and such. But go ahead, Julie. We basically have, we have one purpose, I would say, as a development team, and that's to garner financial and public support for the mission. The way we try to do that, and we hope that we'll be able to share with you on how to do that, is making a compelling message, making sure sometimes I'm not Catholic, but I am Christian, and I've served in just about every capacity you can serve, because the minute someone asks me to be a part of a committee or launch a program, I know my role is ultimately going to be to raise money, because that's what I've been doing for almost 15 years now. So I do understand, but a lot of times I find, even with myself, I have to chastise myself and remind myself that it's just important to treat my friends and my parishioners with the same respect that I treat Coca-Cola and UPS and Arthur Blank and people like that when I ask them for funds, because I go in I make a compelling case to them. I make sure that they understand what we're doing. And I think sometimes when we're asking among our friends and people we interact with on a daily, weekly basis, we leave some of that out. So that's one of the things that we'll be trying to provide you with some resources on more effective ways to make ask within your parishes, to your friends, to your families. We're also expected. I mean, we have goals here to raise X number of dollars each year, and traditionally it's the goals that align with the financial budget that goes out. And we know that you have the same. So we do feel like, you know, we can work with you, especially around the grant space. And my goal, I think I've shared it with Mike, and I've shared it with several of you, is, and Renee has it, you know, it's just something that she feels like will be very helpful, is having a fund here that can make grants available. Obviously, we have to go out and make a compelling case to funders to provide us with those funds, but that's what we plan to do. And then third, we want to collaborate with you to identify and secure the maximum support opportunities that are out there for us. So we want to make sure that because Home Depot, any conference with our tax ID number can go out and apply for a $5,000 community grant with Home Depot, we want to make sure that we're reaching the best opportunity, because if they award that $5,000 grant to any entity, it's the only funds they would allot for that year. So we want to make sure that if we take a look at some of the bigger opportunities, that you are a part of those conversations and really understanding what your needs are. I am looking forward to Renee and I's first visit. I believe will be in February. I'm not sure what conference, but as Mike said, you know, we will have materials that we will be able to share with you. Mike shared the impact report, which we'll be providing copies of that. We also have it in a poster size as well. You know, things like coasters with the SVP. I always find that this is a part of the budget that I'm not always that happy to spend money on, but I've been around fundraising long enough to know that if people don't recognize you and see stuff with your name on it, you know, there's so many other organizations that'll be doing the same. But call on us, as Lisa said, we can work with you on a conference level, on a parish level, if you know, just want to gain some insights. But we, you know, our job is to serve you so that you can better serve our neighbors. So thank you.
We also, I think, talked about trying to customize this impact report for a particular county or a conference or a district. So stay tuned on that from Gina and Brian, trying to get information relevant for you. So you could have a nice piece like this that you could distribute to your parishioners or to your you know, local contacts that you have, government officials, etc.
Awesome. Thank you, Bea. Thank you, Mike. So I also wanted to just reference here a little bit of resources available for pregnancy and new families. We know that there's, you know, if you're like me at the conference level, I'm a Vincentian at my conference, and I don't know about you all, but I talk to a lot of pregnant people and single women with children who are in housing distress. So I think it's really important for us to know what the resources are that are available for this population. For those of you who don't know, I've been working in the pregnancy and prenatal and postnatal arena for the past 5 years. And I see tremendous resources throughout the state that are underutilized. So I wanted to make sure that you're aware of what those are. I have them in the next slide here, Gina. Just to, you know, just by way of background, the importance of stable housing. There's all kinds of research, and probably the most predominant study is from the National Library of Medicine that says that rental eviction during pregnancy increases the risk of adverse birth outcomes. And that's also been linked to lifelong multi-generational consequences. So stable housing is so important for pregnancy. And then the next piece, Gina, is medical care. Women without prenatal care are 7 times more likely to give birth to premature babies and 5 times more likely to have infants who die. There's lots of different research on this. This particular one comes from the Baltimore City Health Commissioner. But we know what happens when people, are using their, medical funds for rent or vice versa, something falls through the cracks. So the 2 pieces of stable housing and prenatal care for pregnancy are vital. So with that, just keep going, Gina. There's pregnancy centers throughout the state of Georgia, about 50 of them actually. And most of these pregnancy centers provide free pregnancy validation and proof of pregnancy. For those of you who don't know, proof of pregnancy by a qualified medical professional is required for pregnancy Medicaid. So that first step for someone in a crisis pregnancy or an unplanned pregnancy is to make sure that they go to a clinic and get a proof of pregnancy through a medical grade pregnancy test, which is different than going to the drugstore, and preferably an ultrasound. Have a nurse sign off for that, and then we can help through Christiana's team here up in Chamblee. The Department of Public Health can help, and generally within 24 hours, a pregnant person can get pregnancy Medicaid, which is a special Medicaid that allows them to, be fast tracked.
And just for my benefit and everybody else's, what does pregnancy Medicaid cover? Is it just prenatal care during the pregnancy, or does it any health care for the mother during the pregnancy?
It is, I believe it's all of her care during that first year, but it's a timing issue. Can you speak more to that, Krista?
It will cover all of her prenatal and the birth of the baby and any subsequent postpartum things up to a certain point afterwards. So all of that is covered.
And then they can get moved on to regular Medicaid,
Yes.
but the imperative is the speed. So pregnancy Medicaid, once they have that proof of pregnancy from a qualified medical professional, that allows them to get fast tracked into Medicaid for the purposes of prenatal care. These pregnancy centers also have generally diapers spilling off the shelves. I can tell you they have a lot of free supplies, free diapers, free baby supplies, free parenting classes and wraparound support. They have a problem. Most of the pregnancy centers are small and they don't have a lot of promotional budgets. So they have a hard time getting the word out. So I think it's just really important as a caseworker when you're, talking to someone in distress, they're in, the potential of eviction, to know that there are other resources out there to just provide that continued wraparound. If you want to go to the next slide, Gina. So the Georgia Department of Public Health website, and we'll send these links out, lists pregnancy resource centers, and these have all been vetted. This is just a snip of the first couple alphabetically, but they're all throughout the state, all the way through the Archdiocese of Atlanta, as well as the Savannah Diocese. And all of the ones on the DPH website provide ultrasounds. Your question, B?
This list, or from the previous slide with the pregnancy centers, are they managed by the state?
No.
They're
No.
just,
Yeah, these are generally nonprofits,
Okay.
small nonprofits, but they're vetted by the state.
okay.
So all the ones that are on the DPH website have been approved by the state because they get a little bit of DPH funding.
But they're not necessarily pro-life pregnancy centers. The ones on the Archdiocese link
Yeah, so
obviously are.
these generally are as well.
Okay.
So the pregnancy centers that DPH has on their site have been vetted through Life Resources of Georgia, which is an advocacy group that brokers Department of Public Health funding for pregnancy centers. So they're pretty much one and the same. And that list comes from Life Resources of Georgia. So most of them are pro-life centers. They don't refer for abortion, but they will refer for all of the resources that people need, when they've made that decision to parent. The Archdiocese of Atlanta, and the reason I have separate links there is because the Archdiocese has a subset of that group that they have vetted on their own. But the bigger link from the Georgia DPH is outside of the Atlanta Archdiocese as well. They're, Brunswick and Savannah, et cetera. So these are really underutilized resources, and they've got a ton of stuff. So I really, really, really encourage you, if you're case managing someone in this situation, to take advantage of the resources out there. It's so important. Do I have one more slide?
Gina, you're gonna be sending this presentation with the links or
Yes.
sending the links?
One more question.
Mhm.
For those services, do they have the same requirements as, for the Georgia Medicaid, like proof of pregnancy, the
It's the
medical, but it just
Yeah,
varies?
well, yeah, the pregnancy centers will have qualified medical people. They'll have nurses, they have a medical director, the whole 9 yards. So, but the thing is, it's free. So
Okay.
it's free and it's generally very easy for them to get in. So once they've gotten in, then they, they have that medical grade pregnancy test with a nurse or, a tech that's qualified and certified and privileged and all that kind of stuff. So it's basically the same thing as going to a doctor, but it's free of charge. And also there's a lot of wraparound advocacy and material items there that are available as well. Government applications, that's just a link from DPH as well that talks about pregnancy Medicaid, SNAP WIC, of course, which that, we assist with here as well. And then another resource that is also very helpful is the Walking with Moms in Need ministries that are parish based throughout the Archdiocese of Atlanta. And there are probably some now also in the Diocese of Savannah. Walking with Moms in Need was a Catholic Bishops initiative back in 2020. It's taken off here in Georgia, and we have a very pro-life Archbishop here, so he's really encouraging parishes to develop these ministries. And every ministry is a little bit different, so I can't say that they all have the same types of resource, but basically it's a group of volunteers who are just willing to walk with and work with women in pregnancy and new moms that need to be driven to their doctor's appointments or taken to the pregnancy center or, given the number of St. Vincent de Paul. So if they have, financial needs or are in danger of eviction, they know where to take them. So the Walking with Moms in Need ministries are also on the Archdiocese website, which is there. And then of course, St. Vincent de Paul, Georgia has, information about SNAP benefits to also make sure that any of new moms that were in crisis to start with, once they have that baby, that they understand what the qualification is for CAPS. That would be childcare assistance, and SNAP, food stamps. So we could try to walk with them, throughout the process, not just getting the baby born, but following. So there's plenty of resources out there. We've all heard the news about, pregnancy and, it gets mired in legal stuff, but, the reality is these women just need help and there is help out there. So we're trying to connect the dots and just make sure that everyone's aware of the resources.
Right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, from there, we're going to turn it over to Mary Al to talk about some cold weather resources that are out there throughout the state and how to access that information.
Yeah,
Thanks, Mary Al.
absolutely. Would it be possible for us to see if
A website?
anyone's, well, no,
Oh.
if anyone's on their camera, so I could see faces and reactions? We have a couple people I can see. Okay, so we've got 17 participants. Okay, I see Joanne, I see Javier. Hello, Pete. I wanted to see faces to see generally if folks who are in the metro area or outside of the metro area and kind of be responsive. So for warming centers, they are, they are in full action mode now. We've had some very cold nights. There are still some warming centers that are yet to be opened. I know specifically for Brookhaven, that one is going before City Council next week. There's a volunteer group that's trying to open an additional women's warming center in Brookhaven, but otherwise they're mostly open. And at this point, if there's not a warming center in your area, I'm going to ask Gina to kindly put my email and my phone number in the chat for you to reach out to me about what would be closest to you and your conference if you're having difficulty finding a place. What I've seen in my experience now is that some of the warming centers are seeking volunteers. And we've specifically been asked to help in DeKalb County, not with making food, but with serving food. So if you're in DeKalb, if you or your conference are interested in helping serve at Frontline Response, I imagine that they'll probably be asking for help around Christmas time again. And that's a great way to be involved. I know that if the Brookhaven Warming Center opens, they're going to be seeking volunteers. It's going to be a volunteer-led. And so if you're seeking a volunteer opportunity, also email me and let me know. And if you are in a county that you know does not have a warming center nearby you, and you have an interest in serving in this capacity with your conference or with a nonprofit, we actually have information now on how to get it up and running. We know how to do either a bare bones warming center or a well-resourced warming center. This past couple of weeks, we've really had a good purview of how to do that. And so we can help handhold and walk along with you if you want to get in at that level. We can help guide you and would be thrilled to walk you through that. So I'm gonna pause to see if there are questions about the warming centers that I've mentioned for the warming centers that are in your areas.
Gina, do we have a link on the website?
For the warming center,
Yeah,
I don't want to share it just yet.
okay. Well, why don't you explain what you're
Okay.
planning to do so that everybody understands what resources are gonna be available?
So we're in the process right now of organizing a link to the warming centers by county, where you'll be able to go in and based on the county that you're in, you'll have a drop down where you can go to their county webpage and see what's available for warming centers in your county. And then sign up for any emails that go out from your county about things like warming centers, shelters, food giveaways, vaccination clinics, any of the things that they choose to share with the general public. And that link will also be on the members webpage. So sbdpgeorgia.org/members is going to have a link for warming centers.
And when do we think we'll have that approximately?
I'd say next week, it should be
Okay.
finished. Not all the counties have as much information as some of the ones in the local area. So for a few people, it'll just be a matter of, this is the person you contact if you have questions versus here's a dedicated site, so.
Yeah, so those of you outside Metro Atlanta, you know, that resource will be there. Gina's doing the research to try to find the right link and website so that you can have regular, easy access to the warming centers and other resources for homeless neighbors. Thank you.
Would you like me to do any housing updates while I'm here? Sure. Okay, so I'll do just two quick housing updates that are exciting. I believe Heidi Eagley is on the Zoom, and as of today, our calendar year, not our fiscal year, but our calendar year is 265 motel to home families.
So 15 or 16 in the last week.
To Heidi and her team. And also with our Lakewood redevelopment project, we will select our developer partner by the 20th, which is next week, which is very exciting. So we will be going into the new year with our developer partner. So stay tuned for that. That is very, very exciting. We're also bringing on board a part-time LEAP navigator to connect the dots between the housing that you guys are finding with landlords and our LEAP program. So LEAP is leaping forward. And if you want to refer someone or if you want to apply for that part-time position, my contact information is in the chat. This is the person who's going to be visiting apartments and just making sure that they're suitable for our neighbors. And then entering them into our LEAP program, into the database so that you guys can be able to access some suitable landlords. So that's exciting. So.
Do you want to touch on the savings program?
Oh, sure. So Heidi and I are very excited that in the new year, we will be able to provide a savings match in a program that we're calling HANDS, which is Housing and Savings. HANDS. And right now it's going to be for families and households in our motel to home program after they have been housed. They will be able to apply for our HANDS program and be able to save money, and we will match their savings. Right now it's up to $1,100 per household that we will be able to match. So this is a brand new program. It's really a 12-month program. We're matching savings for the first 6 months and then giving an award for increased credit score and then checking back in at 12 months. And if the savings have continued in the savings account then there is a bonus to families. So ideally, at the end of the HANDS program, they will have a month of rent saved up for when they need it. So it's very exciting. And that's in partnership with the United Way of Greater Atlanta. So it is for households within the 12 metro counties who have been in motel to home, but motel to home is statewide. So we have a little bit of flex room for a couple of families outside of the metro area, but it will primarily be a metro program until we can expand it. So we are bringing on a new part-time caseworker to manage that program.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary Ellen.
Thank you.
All right, so from here, we're gonna throw it over to Krista Fry on just a little updates as to what we have available to support conferences here at the council level. We're getting there on the slides. T6. There we go.
All right, thank you.
I can keep going. All right, so you know that here at the Conference Support Center, we do offer several government benefits, application services. We can provide application renewal assistance for the following services: SNAP, which you know as food stamps, Medicaid, WIC, which is women, infants, and children, and CAPS, which is childcare, and TANF, which is temporary assistance for needy families. Just a couple of updates for SNAP. For this month only, they're doing an early deposit. For those who receive benefits on the 19th, their deposit will be made on the 17th. And for those who receive benefits either the 21st through 23rd, the deposit will be made on the 19th. So a couple days early for those folks. So good news for any of your clients that currently receive SNAP benefits. And Medicaid, there's a new program, Pathways, which is basically an extended Medicaid program for those who are 19 to 64 who would not otherwise qualify. Okay, the household income does need to be up to 100% of the poverty level. And there are some restrictions with that, but it does open it up for some folks that don't otherwise qualify. And if they come into the support services area, we can also help with applications for that as well. And those are the updates.
And just interjecting quickly, just
Mhm.
to make sure everybody knows, we do have a dedicated case
Excellent.
manager here. Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry. So how can we request assistance? We can walk into the support center here at 2050 Shanley Tucker Road from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. We do have a designated person here in the office that will help assist folks. And we also have bilingual as well, so we can work with that. We also can have you send a request, either yourself or the neighbor in need can send an email to that benefits@spdpgeorgia.org, or they can go online, either you or the neighbor in need can go online, and there's the website right there with the portal. They just fill out a quick application, just a quick request form basically, and it will go. And somebody will return that call. I think there's an option to say, how's the best way to contact me? Email, text, phone, and somebody will call them back or get back with them. And you could also request a benefits rep from the SNAP benefits team to come out to your conference and do some on-site applications if you like, or just some outreach, either one. If you happen to have an event going on, say on a Saturday, and you're having some resources or a event at your parish, and you would like them to come and offer that service, we'd be happy to send somebody out there for you.
Just to comment on the walk-in, those are open hours, 10 to 2, Monday through Friday. Anybody can walk in. If you need to refer a neighbor and they can't come during those hours, they can make an appointment with Christiana.
Yes,
And they
do.
can come outside those hours. Those are
They
just our open walk-in hours.
Yes, those are the open walk-in hours, and that's probably best when they would be best seen. Is to, she could still make an appointment, or she can even, walk them through it over the phone. I mean, it is available on a website where, a neighbor could actually go in and do that. I know it's kind of confusing, though. Some people do want to go ahead and, go ahead and give it a shot on their own. They go, okay, I'm stuck on this one. They could still request assistance that way. So we are coming up with a designated phone number for that as well. So we will have that available. It's probably by the next month or so. So a variety of ways, but they can also send a request for an appointment through those options there. And just because I know this is going to be going out to you, I just put the SNAP eligibility on there for anybody who has questions about that. You guys can go ahead and read through that, and then back up. And then for more information, here's several links that covers the majority of those services. And so if you're looking for a little bit more information for yourselves on your neighbors in need, these are some great resources for you. And I know this is going out to you as well.
What is Georgia detail right from the start?
Oh, okay. So the question was, what is the Georgia Decal Bright from the start? That is actually a list of participating childcare services that participate in the CAPS program. So if you're looking for affordable childcare, that would be where you would go.
Well, I will say, I met with a neighbor on a home visit a couple weeks ago, and even after so many years of doing casework, I was not familiar with CAPS. So I've just recently learned that childcare, the support for that childcare cost is available. So that's a great benefit.
So yes, that's the CAPS program is for childcare assistance. They do need to be working in order to qualify, or they need to have that welcome letter saying that they're going to start on a specific date. So that does need to be in place before they can qualify for that program, but it's a great program. I think we're familiar with the Women, Infants, and Children is also for pregnant women and women with infants. So if I didn't clarify those earlier.
There we go. Krista, any updates on SNAP renewals? Have been severely delayed.
SNAP renewals, as far as, yes, there is a delay at the defects end of SNAP renewals. We can go in and check status for you, and actually, Pete, I do have a call to you after this. Because I know you had emailed me about a question, so I'll get back to you on that specific one for your neighbor.
I don't think it's just SNAP that there's
Mhm.
delays on. I think it's all these applications are delayed. I know the CAPS applications are
Yes.
delayed. So there is a
Yes.
bottleneck at DFACS, unfortunately, but Christiana can go in and look at the status of an application and in some cases can reach out to the DFACS contact on that application. So.
Yes, we can, but there is, yes, just know that there is a big delay on just all services on their end. I'm sorry. That's I don't have any dates as to when all that will be resolved. It just kind of is how it is.
Probably because all the DFACS folks are working on Clark's Christmas kids. We've been seeing them at the warehouse and at the Walmart stores.
Right, and the next and so the next program that we are offering is VITA. We have offered that in the past. That's the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. And that is offered through St. Vincent de Paul. And this year we're excited because we're going to be offering it at more sites. Right now it's a free service for those with income 60,000 or less. And right now we are solidifying our sites, our physical sites, we're looking at about 4 to 6, which are going to be at conferences. And also a virtual drop-off pickup location. We're looking at Lakewood for that. Our season begins on January 29th. So just keep in mind, this is a free service. I know a lot of people go out and they want to pay H&R Block to do their taxes. And I think the last time I did that many, many years ago, it was like $150. And then you realize you can have it done for free.
And then they will entice you to take an advance.
So yes.
You'll have a fee.
Exactly.
And if you get direct deposit, there's no reason to take an advance. These refunds come within 2 weeks usually.
Exactly.
Will one of the sites be here? Crystal?
And one of the sites is here at the Conference Support Center. That would be Mondays and Thursdays from 9:30 to 1 is when it will be offered here at this office. Appointments will be opening up after the new year. But we will offer it here by appointment. And then also, if anyone else, we're getting this all finalized this month, and we have to have it in by the end of the month. So anyone interested in becoming a volunteer, either here or at another location, please let me know. And if you want to volunteer your site, your conference, again, we're opening it up for conferences. So if you would like to have it at your conference, we do have a deadline for a commitment. We need a commitment saying, yes, I will do this. And I'm ready to start my training. The training is, what I understand, is only about 5 hours. It's not a very intensive training. I mean, it's online or you can do in person. So whichever you choose. We did send out earlier, about a month or two ago, to all the conference treasurers. So we do have some interest there. That's why we're doing that. But if
And I
anyone,
assume there's a background check because you're dealing with
Yes.
neighbors'
right,
personal financial information.
exactly. So there is a background check. That's why the deadline for commitment is the 22nd. And that's when everything's finalized. We'll put you guys on the list. We send that over to, to have your background check done and, we have you vetted to be. And it's a very simple process. It's not huge, but yes, there are some measures that need to be taken to make sure that you're good to go. And we will be providing, some additional training here and assistance. We do have some designated folks to help you out in whatever capacity we can. So.
And there are many other agencies that provide the same service. So if one of our locations is inconvenient to the neighbors you're serving, it can be referred to. There's libraries, there's all sorts of
Yeah.
locations throughout the state.
Yes, we're dedicating, this for our neighbors indeed. So,
Who should they contact if they're interested in signing up for volunteering?
me,
Okay.
you want to put my contact
Oh,
info in the
sure.
chat?
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Or if they're interested in their conference being a.
Or if you're
site.
interested in your conference, we do need to have someone from the conference though, commit. To being kind of that on-site person, it doesn't need to be,
Brian's still on. We can ask him to drop that in the chat
Yeah.
for you.
yeah.
Brian, if you can hear me, can you put Krista's contact information in the chat?
Yes,
Okay.
will do.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. And then, on the Hunger Walk is already scheduled for March 12th, 2024, so please save the date. Okay, and why do we want to be interested in Hunger Walk? Right, so Hunger Walk is, it was offered through the Atlanta Food Bank. It's that great big race that's downtown, every spring. And St. Vincent de Paul is a benefiting partner. We're one of only a handful of folks, or organizations that do benefit from a portion of the proceeds that we raise. So a portion of the proceeds that we raise goes back to us. And also the other portion goes to the Atlanta Food Bank, which also helps supply our food pantry. So it's a win-win for everybody. We get some, they get some, and we all benefit. Okay,
What's that date again?
March 12th. It's from 12 to 4. It is,
I think it might actually be on the.
no, it's the 12th. March 20. That's what they told me. Okay.
What day?
What day is the 12th?
My calendar has issues, I've learned, but it's looking like it's a Tuesday.
That should be good.
Yeah, let me just double
Oh,
check that. 'cause
We'll
I'm-
confirm that when we send this out. Let's keep going so we don't run out of time.
Okay. Okay. All right, so yes, that will be confirmed. All right, that will be confirmed. I know we're still early in the planning process. So registration will go live early in January. And so go ahead and you can sign up as an individual, you can sign up as a team. Last year we had some great teams, including All Saints, which got together a wonderful team and raised a lot of money and had a lot of fun. So if anybody else wants to come on in and bring their conference as a team, or even their colleagues at work, several work teams coming in. It was wonderful. It's pretty easy. I know my daughter also reached out to her work, and they decided, several of them wanted to come and join, and so they had their own work team, and then some other ones said, nah, I don't really want to walk or run, but I'll give you some money. And so it was a great fundraiser. So she was able to raise some money and have fun. So it's really simple. It's just basically asking folks at your job, asking folks that you know, asking your friends, neighbors, friends, anybody. The Champions Club are those who raise 500 and above. There's two different levels. There's the 500 and then also the 1,000. And those are great opportunities for special perks. You get there's going to be some volunteer opportunities that you wouldn't normally get, backstage opportunities. Get some cool swag and recognition. And also returning champions get 50% off the registration for this year. And also the Champions Club, they also have a Champions tent where they get, breakfast and all that good stuff. I know last time I had to walk about a mile to get a cup of coffee, and I came back and somebody was, had this big plate of food. So where did you get that? She says, oh, I'm a champion. So good stuff. Yes, gonna be a champion. So
The
great
website has the 10.
Oh, is it 10th? Oh, I'm
40th
sorry. I
anniversary.
didn't write it down
No, no, no.
wrong. That was my fault. I'm sorry.
But we have that
It is
confirmed.
the 10th. All right. So save that date, not 12th, say the 10th. All right. And this is not our program, but we do work with these folks, and this is LIHEAP. And I just want to put this out there because I have a lot of questions from caseworkers, neighbors in need, regarding the LIHEAP program. So LIHEAP is a low-income home energy assistance program that helps to keep families safe and healthy through initiatives that assist with energy costs. Okay, so it's basically paying their, in most cases, it pays their heating bill. Sometimes, depending on county and depending on funds, they will also pay your electric bill and water bill. Okay, but in general, it's heating. Okay. Currently, they are accepting appointments only from the elderly households, ages 65 and older, or the medically homebound. They're accepting calls to schedule appointments for the general public on January 2nd. Okay, so it opens up for everybody else on January 2nd if funds are still available in that county, and that's important. So this is a statewide program, but it does vary by county. Okay. There's the eligibility requirements up there, and then also a statewide provider map. Are you able to hit that link? Just to show them that this is statewide and these, oh, it's a downloadable. But there's a map that will show you all of the availability. So this is all of the areas, and you just find your county and where the place that services that county. Okay, and that's where you can send your folks. I know I sent.
They have to
someone-
go in person to apply, correct?
They're taking, well, not necessarily, depends on county, but I would go out to the county websites. I know Fulton County does take appointments. You do have to go in person, but they do take appointments. So you have to make an appointment via the website, and then you have to go in person with all of your documents. There's also, if you go out onto their websites, they often have events. I know that Fulton County, for example, is also hosting one. I believe it's in College Park. I'm thinking it's this Saturday. So if anybody's in the College Park area in Fulton County, they're hosting one. And that's when
Great.
you just kind of go to that location, bring all your documents. So they're trying to open it up for different places. I know certain conferences have also done that. I know that I've done that at my conference. We've hosted it at my church, so those opportunities are available as well, but it also depends on funding.
Thank you, Krista.
I think that's it.
All right.
Updates.
I will give a quick update on the pharmacy since Sam is unavailable at the moment, but and this is not new information. Hopefully you've heard this before, but we want to keep emphasizing it because this is a program that's available to any client that you serve, any neighbor in need that you serve that has prescription medications. And I know as a caseworker, it took a long time to get into the habit of asking the neighbors we serve on our home visits or otherwise, you know, how much they spend on prescription medications. And even if it's only, you know, $30 or $50 a month, it's $30 or $50 a month that they can save. That's, you know, hundreds of dollars a year. So prescriptions can be picked up here by the patients directly from our pharmacy. And we'll talk about the hours in a minute. About 20% of our patients pick up directly. We also have volunteers that will deliver within a 20-mile radius to their home. And that's about 30% of our patients. And then we ship, of course, all over the state. And that's about half of our patients. And we ship all over the state, very South Georgia, very North Georgia. So wherever you are, wherever your neighbors are, we can provide services to them. In addition to prescription medications, and should emphasize that we don't have all prescription medications. We have those that are for adult chronic conditions, diabetes, hypertension, COPD, asthma, mental health, etc. But you can always contact Sam or somebody in the pharmacy team to find out whether the neighbor you're helping, their medication is covered. In addition to prescription medications, we can provide over-the-counter medications, other medical equipment, medical supplies, ostomy supplies, wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, and for those locally in Metro Atlanta, we can provide healthcare service referrals, principally to Mercy Care, but also to a couple of other local health clinics. This is just a breakdown. This is calendar year 2022, so we don't have this for calendar 2023 yet, but you can see almost half of the patients we serve are Spanish speaking. And fortunately, Sam Ricks, who is our pharmacy director, is bilingual. Some of the other pharmacy staff have been picking up Spanish, so don't hesitate to refer neighbors who are not English speaking or even Spanish speaking, because we can use some translation services and make sure we can get medications they need. Go ahead. So I mentioned Mercy Care. About half of our referrals of patients come through Mercy Care, who has a low-cost clinic a block away from our office here in Chamblee. More than a quarter are coming from you all, from conferences. We do allow neighbors in need to apply themselves on our website. So about 8% is self-referrals. We also get referrals from Piedmont, DeKalb County Health, the VA, etc. We just began a new partnership with Clarkston Community Health Center. So they're referring patients to us that they serve that are mostly refugees. So we're working on some other partnerships with service providers as well. The pharmacy hours currently, and this is for anybody that needs to pick up, or if you need to talk to somebody in the pharmacy, is Monday through Thursday, 9 to 3:30. We are soon to be expanding to Friday hours, so stay tuned on that. But we are adding some staffing to be able to have hours on Friday as well. You can email the pharmacy at pharmacy application at SVDP Georgia, or if you have a question about something specific, feel free to give Sam a call. The phone number is in this deck that will circulate, and her email there is sricks@svdp Georgia.
Thank you, Mike, for the overview on the pharmacy.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it. I feel like that was a lot of information we threw at you, but, you know, we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and making sure that you're up to date on all things council and all things on the way that council can help conferences. So with that, let me just, throw it out to the group and ask if there's any questions on anything that you've heard or anything that we did not cover that you would like us to, either now or email or otherwise. Anything from anyone?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I have a question and a request, okay? My request is we do lots of food stamp referrals. And usually our neighbors are helped by you very well, but we only hear from them when something goes wrong. We would like to know if you could send us some kind of feedback when things are successful. I think most of our referrals are successful, but we don't know and we feel a little bit shy to go and ask the neighbors, hey, did they help you, okay?
We can let you know that you have helped them. As far as the status sometimes, there are some privacy things going on with SNAP, but as much as we can, did you,
Do we get notified when an application that we've submitted gets approved or just the neighbor?
just
we
the
help?
neighbor, just the
Yeah, so
neighbor,
we may not always know, Javier,
yeah, so it's.
whether it's been approved or not, and which is
exact-
probably why you hear if there's a problem, because the neighbor contacts us because it isn't approved.
Right, yeah, we,
So we may not
Well,
always have that information.
I
If,
mean, we
if
can
you
go
can
back
just,
and check.
if
Sorry,
you
go
can
ahead.
just tell us, hey, we help the neighbor, we contact the neighbor and we help them.
Okay,
And so that
okay. We
we
can do
go
that.
back to them, okay?
Um, and if
My
it
second,
is that we, I'm sorry, go ahead. Just one sec, if we know that you've referred them, so, cause I know a lot of things come in, like, I mean, do you send, like, are you sending it through saying, I am referring X neighbor? Or are you just sending the neighbor, because they don't always say who referred them, they just say, I need help. And so I wanna make sure that if you guys refer them, that we know that.
yeah, we will reserve it through the website application that you have, okay?
Okay, all right, let me double check that, because I'm not sure it always tells me who sent it. Okay, but I'll make a note of that too.
Right.
Notify the person that sent them, just,
Second, I have a question. We set up a matching program with Google very recently, and I want to make sure that first, the money somehow gets into St. Vincent de Paul, and more important, that the money goes to IHM, okay? So this is very recent. Who should be the person I should be contacting about this?
Renee,
Or Ann,
I'm not sure.
he's
No,
applied for money from Google.
they arrange for
for
Google
Google.
employee match for IHM, so if someone donates to IHM from Google, Google will match it. And I'm guessing all the money is funneling through Sue's hands, so how would we get that from Sue to IHM? This is news to you.
Is it an
Okay.
employee match or is it a grant application?
No, employee match.
Okay,
So there's probably a lot of them.
yeah, sometimes we don't even know who the employee is that the company is matching, so that's probably a question for
It
Sue.
should be coming through development. However, for a lot of our funds that come in currently, development never knows about them. We're trying to correct that. Around Google, and the only reason I know a little bit about Google is I had a Google employee as a board member at my last job. So when Google matches employee funds, they typically will send the funds and you'll have access if you sign up to their employee match program and you can go in and look at it. But currently, as it stands now, when we're getting money from Google, it's being credited to Google. That's not correct, but we're trying to fix that. But right now, we don't have that but that's on our end, it's not on Google's end. So we will,
But it might-
So who
He's had
can
money
Javier
sent already.
follow up with?
yeah, just, if you would, Javier, follow up with me. If you don't
Who is-
mind.
Who are you?
Or Javier, I can call you.
Okay,
We have your info.
all right. Who am I talking to? I cannot see you.
B
Oh, B,
Purdue.
okay, okay, thank
Okay,
you.
I'll call you as soon as this ends.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Javier. Any other questions,
All right, or comments?
comments?
Hey, Gina, could you correct my phone number in the chat, please?
I sure can. Can you tell me what to go in there?
It ends in 70, not 68.
Any other questions, comments,
Okay.
concerns?
Listen, I just wanted to thank Gina for the help. I know she's been working with Brian Chilla, our membership coordinator, so we really appreciate it. I know we're still trying to create these signs that we could put outside the church when it's collection Sunday or the week before, but we're going to continue working on that. And then Krista, I know I sent you an email. You could disregard it. I was just trying to confirm whether or not one of our neighbors was a member of your church, but we went ahead and helped her, so no problem.
Okay.
So you can cross that one off.
All right.
Thank you all so much. Anything else from anyone? Please keep these couple of dates in mind. March 23rd, Spring to Life. Our next town hall is going to be February 29th, and of course, we will have these in email to you. Hunger Walk is March 10th. And
Do we have a location for the Spring to Life?
Yeah, I don't say, I'll confirm, but
yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna ask if that's confirmed. We are in the process of confirming Cristo Rey. That's the plan. That's the intention, is to be back at Cristo Rey for Spring to Life. So that's coming up before we know it, after the holidays, things
Be a matter of
things
put a
start
program
rocking and
together.
rolling. We appreciate you so much, and particularly on behalf of Gina and myself, who are, you're the conduit to the conferences. We really want to be here for you. We want to hear from you, whether it's just, something a concern or anything. That's the only way we can learn and do better. So as we get all this information pushed out, our emails and our contact information pushed out, please don't hesitate to contact us. And we hope that you have a blessed Advent and a very merry and blessed Christmas if we don't talk to you prior. Anything else, Mike?
No, let's end with a prayer.
Yep.
If we can. Jesus is ever present with God and ever present with us. And so we pray, Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life.
Eternal life.
We ask for strength to continue as your faithful disciples. And may we always let your word break into our consciousness and change us.
Change us.
Amen. Thank you all. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. God bless.
Oh, you know,
Again.
Christmas, New Year.